Many of you will probably be asking, why don't I invest in a mirrorless system since they seem to be gaining momentum and going crazy? Um, well, not, you know what I mean. Anyway, if I were to get a mirrorless system, it would be the Nikon 1 system, more than likely the V2. The V2 is actually, I've seen reviews. I haven't actually seen the camera itself yet, but I'd like to. I'd like to head down to a store and pick one up and see what I think of it in person. From what I've seen, it seems to be a very capable system, and I could use the FT1 adapter to utilize the V1 with the 18 to 70 millimeter VR lens that I already have, or not VR, it's not a VR lens, I'm sorry, the 18 to 70 millimeter 3.5 to 5.6 that I already have on my D70. However, there are a couple of issues that I think exist with the mirrorless system. It's nothing necessarily wrong with this particular camera. I just feel like it's missing out on some things that I would like to utilize. This is a rear shot of the D70-100, and let me zoom in here. We can see here that it has two SD card slots. Now, the reason why I really like the idea of having these two slots is to be able to record JPEGs and videos onto one SD card and then send all of my RAW files to the other. I said a couple of videos ago that I'd like to be able to shoot more RAW files, and I would like to be able to, like, if there's a period where I'm recording, say, more videos for YouTube than I'm out taking photos, then I could just keep the video and JPEG card in here and take the RAW photos off of one that I have on the second card, pop those into my computer, and edit them. And I just think that it's just an easier way to keep things organized. So that's one thing that the Nikon 1 system and mirrorless systems in general don't have. The second has to be weather resistance. Now, there is one or two exceptions, and both are in the Micro Four Thirds lens mount. The Panasonic GH3 and the Olympus OMD EM5. The problem with those systems has to do with the fact that I've already got a piece of Nikon glass and I'm not necessarily willing to invest in a brand new system. That wouldn't be fully compatible with the 18 to 70 that I already have. Now, that's the beauty of the FT1 adapter on the Nikon V2, is that everything works. Focusing works, aperture control works. When it comes to the Micro Four Thirds mount, nothing is completely, nothing completely works in the sense of the 18 to 70 would be manual focus only. If it were compatible in the first place, I did some research before doing this video, and as it turns out, the Nikon 18 to 70 that I have is a G series lens, and G series lenses are not compatible with this particular mount adapter for the 4/3 lens mount, which I thought was a bit of a shame. But no, in terms of weather resistance, the only two bodies that do it are in the 4/3 system, and the 18 to 70 millimeter that I have is not compatible with that system, and I'm just not, I don't feel like investing in a brand new system. And the reason why weather resistance is so critical is because I do want to get out there into the world and see more of it and expand my photographic horizons. And the trouble is, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't know when a rainstorm's going to hit. And I would like to have a camera where I could maybe finish a shot or two off, or while I'm seeking shelter, I don't have to worry about the camera getting damaged. Most mirrorless cameras don't live up to that particular standard of weather resistance, but there's also another problem that pretty much all mirrorless systems share across the board. Take a look at the battery life here on the V2, 310 shots. That is point and shoot territory, the 310 shots. which I have to say is not that great. Now, keep in mind that I do own a D, for those of you who have just subscribed to me, I do own a D70, and the natural upgrade would be the D70-100. Let's take a look at the battery life on the 7100. 950 shots on a single charge. I believe the D70 was rated at somewhere around 1,000. And those are the most, excuse me, those are the main drawbacks of the mirrorless systems in general for me are battery life, having only the single SD card slot, and also weather resistance. If they could get around those three, now they've already gotten around one with the weather resistance. The trouble is, again, my 18 to 70 won't work on the Micro Four Thirds adapters. So if they could get more bodies out there with weather resistance, number one. Number two, if they could get a body with dual SD card slots, that'd be nice. And some of you are thinking, well, why not just offload your images via Wi-Fi, to your smartphone or something. The problem there is these new Wi-Fi systems are so new that I feel like they still have bugs in them. I mean, sure they work, but the question is how well. Let's see. So the dual SD card slots, the weather resistance. The biggest one though is the battery life. Most mirrorless systems are around that 300 shot per charge. I think Sony does a little bit better, around 450 to 500 shots, but none of them can match the battery life of a DSLR. And I'm so used to having that battery life that going backwards in that respect, I just feel like I'd be giving a lot of versatility up. Now, some of you are going to say with the GH3 that I could get a battery grip for it. Yes, I could. But again, we have to look at the lens compatibility issue that I've been bringing up through the video. So until they get a battery grip to increase the battery life of the one system, I think I'm just going to have to wait on that. But if I were to get a mirrorless camera, I think it would be the one, the V2 specifically, and I would just use the FT1 adapter and take full advantage of my 18 to 70 lens on the V2. But what's your take on the whole mirrorless debate? You probably guessed from this video, I just don't think that we're quite at the point where we can replace an SLR to its fullest capacity, especially if you've already invested, as I have, into a particular lens system on a full-sized SLR and don't want to compromise on functionality. But what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.